Splunk Admin Roadmap Day 3. In this video, we will discuss about how to set up an indexer from the scratch. That includes the pre-installation step, what are the checks to be done, and the installation steps, the CLI commands, and the post-installations. So what will we do after installing the Splunk? So these contents we will see it in this video. First step, pre-installation checks. What are all the checks to be done? There are some OS level validations we have to do, such as like checking OS version and checking the disk partition, checking the CPU details, memory details, and check if whether Splunk user is created or if the directory is created and it has the permission or the owner as a Splunk user. These kind of things we have to check at a OS level. For that, let's log into the indexer, click on connect and take the SSH command. Go to your git bash and navigate to the folder where you have the pem file. Yes, so we're logged into indexer. Clear. And now let's follow the steps whatever we mentioned here for the OS validation. This is there in your course page. In your course page under day 3 you can find out how to set up indexer document. So I'm using that only. Let's start with the first command, checking OS version. Yes, it is Red Hat 9 Linux 9.4 below version. And now let's check the other disk partition things, tf-kh. So here you see in our lab server we have set up 30 GB storage. So here as in a root directory we have around 28 GB. Like overall the size is 29 GB, but now we have 28 GB. This is expected. And let's also try to navigate to the opt Splunk directory and see if it is existing. Yeah, it is existing. And let's also check what is the size of it by giving df-kh. Yes, it is mounted on the root directory, so it has 28 GB size. And let's check the CPU. Yes, so if you scroll up, you can see CPU we have 2 cores and yeah, 64-bit architecture. Yeah, this is what we did set up, so it is visible here. And free h, this command will help you to check the memory usage. So yeah, it is total is 3.6 GB, which is 4 GB what is set up. Also let's check the user created or not, the Splunk user. Yes, it is giving ID, which means the user is created. And let's check about the further details of this user, like in which group it is added. You see home directory and all these things, right? It is available, so this is fair. And let's also check the ownership of the directory by giving LLOPT. So this Splunk, there should be Splunk directory inside OPT, and that should have a ownership for Splunk user. It is there. Next, we will check the ports availability. So there are some default ports at a OS level. It should be open OS level or network level firewall both there, which are 8000, 8089, 8088, 8065, 8181, 9887, 9997, 514. So these are all the commonly used port. There, of course, there are other ports as well, but at this point of time, please make sure you have all these ports available at the OS level as well as it is open at the network firewall level. To check that, let's use the below command nextstat. You can use it. Ideally, this command should be this for library should be available in your OS level. So now it did not return any results. So which means these ports are not being used by any other softwares. You can use the other command as well, ss and it will be in. So this is also not returning any response, which means these ports are not used by any other softwares. So port validation is done. Next, we have to check if the THP is disabled and the ulimit is increased and the NTP sync status, it should be synced with the centralized server. These three we have to check. To do that, we can use the below commands. You can copy paste them one by one. Here in the response, you should have the never in the square bracket. So this is something very much important. And if you use the second command as well, you should see the same similar output in that as well. Never should be in the square bracket. So this means THB is disabled. We should also check the U limits. You can use this command, and this command will list the U limits, and you can compare these U limits with the values what we have given in the previous module, or you can open this file and you can see this is the value, these are all the values we have given in the previous module, and you can compare it with the Splunk recommended settings. And then we have to check the NTP sync. So by using NTP stats command, you can check the NTP sync status. So here it should say synchronize to NTP server, polling server every some seconds, right? So this shows that it is synced with the NTP server. Next, we will discuss about installation steps, the CLI commands. First, we have to do some of the preparations. So like we have to install Splunk by downloading all those things, right? So we will look at each one of them in detail now. For that, you can continue using the commands listed in this document. So let me clear the chat. Now let's use this commands one by one. Let me log in as Splunk user and let's navigate to the directory, and then let's use the wget commands to download the software from the internet. Go download it, and let's extract the tar file. So you can use the tar command to extract the file. So this is getting extracted to the opt directory. It's done. Now let's navigate to the opt splunk bin directory, which is Splunk home directory as well. And now let's clear the screen just for, yeah, so we are inside opt splunk bin directory. Now we have to start the Splunk by accepting the license. You can use this command and you can paste this, and it is asking administrator username. You can give admin, and password, whatever the password you like. But please make sure you are remembering this password, because this is going to be your root admin password, which you will use for any administration activities inside Splunk. So now it's done. So we should have the Splunk available at this port 8000. Now let's go and check that availability. That let's go to the admin console, AWS console, and let's check the indexer public IP. Take that and put it in your browser, colon 8000. So yes, the Splunk UI is coming up. Let's go to, let's set up. Yes, so now UI is coming up, and we can go to settings and we can go to server settings and go to general settings, and you can see we have a Splunk server name indexer, default host name as indexer as well, which is very good. And now let's go to settings and let's go to server settings. Let's set up the global banner. Let's turn on the visibility. You can choose any color you want. I'm just choosing the green, so I'm giving the name as well indexer, clicking on OK. So now indexer banner is also ready. Now we have a server which is running with a banner name indexer. Next, we have to do the post installation steps, which are configuring a Splunk to run as a boot time, which your Linux team will do. You have to tell them, you have to ask them to configure it as a boot start. Next one is default server name. You have to use CLI, but here it is already working, but you have to check, and you have to check the host name, and you have to check the ports like web port, management port, app server port, and KV store port. So these are all things we have to check now. For that, we can use below commands. So first let's check, like if server name is set, it should be indexer. Okay, it is asking for authentication. So let's use the credentials what we have set up now. Yes, it is saying server name is indexer. So we don't need to set any new server name. If you prefer to change the server name, you can change it. But I would like to keep the same. And then I'm going to check the default host name. So I'm taking that and I'm pasting the command. Yeah, default host name is saying as indexer. So which is good for me. If you want to change it, please change that. And then let's verify the ports. So let me clear the chat for this. Now let's use this command to check web port. Web port is 8000, which we already know. And let's check the Splunk D port, which is a management port as well. The management port is 8089, which is the default one. And then let's check the KV port. Yeah, it is 8191, same. And let's check the app server ports, which is 8065, which are the default values. We are good. And then once you ask your Linux team to enable your Splunk to run as a boot stat, you can check the status here. But at this point of time, yes, it is not configured, but still you can execute this command and you can see, you see here, it says file is not installed. Init D file is not installed in system D, and it says like not configured to run at boot, not configured to run at system D managed service. So this shows that it is not configured to run as bootstrap yet. But once you ask your Linux team, once they configure, you can see here saying like configured to run as boot. That's it. We have installed indexer. So indexer setup is done.